WNBA insiders are leaking that there is about to be a strike, y'all. WNBA insiders leaked this, man. We got to break all of this down and get into everything. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. We are on the road. We traveling this holiday season. We got to...
Notice that energy? This isn't casual commentary. It's the kind of urgency that comes when the WNBA is facing uncharted territory of potential strike. Industry insiders speaking to ESPN confirm this isn't just talk anymore. On December 19th, 2024, the Women's National Basketball Players Association authorized its executive committee to call a strike, marking the first time in league history. So, the real question isn't whether tensions are high. It's whether the 2024 season could actually be at risk.
Use that against the WNBA. It's definitely been a tactic that I have noticed. Here it says, this is a quote, "If you're so far apart as the union claims and the negotiations have not gone well and you have the right to strike at any point in time, why are you not striking?" One industry source said. "If it's all negative with no progress, what are you waiting for?" Now that feeds into the point where the WNBA came out and addressed the WNBPA and called them liars. They literally called them liars about the state of...
Here's the heart of the issue. If negotiations are really as broken as the union claims, why wait? Why not strike immediately? That question is even more pressing because the WNBA has publicly pushed back, essentially calling the Players Association liars, not in those exact words, but close enough. The league issued a statement saying they strongly disagree with the union's characterization of the talks and insist they've been negotiating in good faith while offering fair proposals. Translation, you're lying to the fans. What makes this messier is that both sides are weaponizing public opinion. The union is taking to Instagram, posting statements, and trying to rally fan support. Meanwhile, the league is feeding reporters information to control the narrative. And caught right in the middle? Caitlin Clark and every other player who just wants to play basketball.
It's okay to strike, to me. One agent told ESPN, in some cases, walking away, saying no is a really good part of the strategy in negotiation. But not everyone believes the league would be more willing to come closer to the players' demands with the threat of a strike looming. This is another quote. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver is going to step in and say, "Ladies, we're not moving on this and this and this, but we will do this, this, and this. And we're going to get a deal."
Adam Silver, the NBA Commissioner, plays a bigger role here than most realize. Agents note that his influence matters because Silver has long served as the WNBA's safety net. When the league loses money, which happens every season, the NBA steps in to cover it. That means if negotiations reach a breaking point, Silver can step in and declare, "Here's the final offer. Take it or leave it." Multiple agents speaking to ESPN on background expect exactly that to happen in early January. But there's a catch in that theory. It assumes the players are negotiating entirely rationally. It assumes they realize that without a 2026 season, all the momentum from Caitlin Clark's rookie year disappears. Record ratings, sold-out arenas, mainstream media attention, all gone if a strike happens.
She understands the importance of having a 2026 season. It doesn't seem like all of these other players do. You know, here it says, "So it is still unlikely that games will be missed." This is a quote. "I think a work stoppage by technicality is possible," another league source added. "I'm not worried at this point about us missing any games." Now, there's an article here on ESPN, and it has updates up to December 23rd. You can see the date there, little fuzzy, but and it's basically stating.
And here's where things get complicated. Not all players share the same stakes. Caitlin Clark needs a season. Angel Reese needs a season. The rookies and mid-tier players who rely on WNBA salaries, they need a season. But consider who's on the WNBA Executive Committee. Cake is president and a co-founder of Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 league launching in January 2025. Brianna Stewart is vice president with equity in Unrivaled. Kelsey Plum is treasurer and also a co-founder with equity stakes. See the problem? The very players leading these negotiations have millions lined up in a rival league. If the WNBA season gets canceled, they're not losing out. They've got unrivaled salaries, equity, and a platform that doesn't depend on the WNBA existing.
How and under what circumstances would an executive committee vote on a strike? Agumake told ESPN that she sees Thursday vote as an opportunity for a strike to be an option if negotiations don't progress, adding that she believes talks are still a bit in their infancy. The WNBA, meanwhile, has repeatedly said in statements that the league strongly disagrees with the WNBPA's characterization of the current state of the negotiations. As I told you, the WNBA came out and called them liars. When asked what factors would prompt the
Revenue sharing is the heart of the union's demand. They want a 50-50 split of basketball-related income, similar to what NBA players receive. Sounds reasonable until you look at the numbers. The WNBA lost money in 2023 and has never turned a profit in its 28-year history. So, what exactly would they be sharing? Losses. Here's what the league has offered, according to sources. Guaranteed salaries more than double current levels, improved travel conditions, including chartered flights for the full season, better maternity benefits, and increased marketing support. Average salaries would jump from around $120,000 to over $250,000, with top players earning $500,000 or more in WNBA salary alone. But the union rejected it, not because the offer was insulting, but because it didn't include revenue sharing. They want to cut a future growth, not just higher pay today.
Question for something closer to January 9th. I'm not entirely sure what factors, aside from what we're looking to get done in revenue sharing, could potentially lead us to make a decision on this strike authorization vote. Here it says the union declined to provide details on the voting procedures the executive committee would follow if voting on a strike. What are the ramifications? Man, bro, I'm tired of this. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired of it, bro. I just want a season to happen. That's all I want is a hoop season.
Terry Jackson, WNBPA Executive Director, is running the same playbook that worked in 2020 when the union negotiated the current CBA. Go public, create pressure, and make the league look greedy. It worked then because the optics were impossible to ignore. How could the WNBA not pay women fairly? But this time it's different. The league has the receipts. They can show exactly how much money they're losing and prove that the NBA has subsidized the WNBA with hundreds of millions of dollars over nearly 3 decades. They can demonstrate that revenue sharing doesn't add up when there's no profit to split. That's why industry insiders are divided on whether a strike will actually happen. One league source told ESPN, "I think a work stoppage by technicality is possible. I'm not worried at this point about us missing any games." Translation: a brief strike might happen for optics, but both sides know they can't afford to cancel the season.
Okay, yo, that's really all I want to see. It says the 2026 season isn't expected to tip off until May, so the possibility of canceled games is still far off, but the players could opt to strike before then. The ramifications of a potential strike or any work stoppage in the offseason would include losing benefits and team housing for those who still remain in such accommodations.
May 2026 is when the next WNBA season is scheduled to start, just 5 months away. Here's what happens if the players strike before then. Benefits disappear immediately. Team housing for those who still have it? Gone. Health insurance? Gone. Access to team facilities? Gone. For veterans making big money or with unrivaled contracts, that's manageable. But for rookies and minimum salary players, it's devastating. Terry Jackson acknowledged this in her ESPN interview, noting that the union has been educating players about the realities of a work stoppage. Translation: we're making sure you understand exactly how much this could hurt.
I think the owners have gone as far as they're gonna go. Okay, I think they have done compromise. They have adjusted a lot of their things, and just like Caitlin Clark said, there has to be compromise on the player side too. And getting a season happening needs to be the priority. And I don't know that is the priority for a lot of these players. You have to remember, There's so many people that are on this WNBPA board that have stake in Unrivaled, that are co-founders, that are equity partners, that are now getting millions of dollars from Project B, that now have equity in Project B. So a lot of these players feel like the grass could be greener elsewhere, and they have options. Like, hey, if this don't work, I know I got that. I got this money coming in from here. But it still leaves those middle of the pack and lower level players out to dry. And that's just what it is. So I want to know.
Here's what nobody's saying publicly, but everyone knows privately. The WNBA's leverage is time. Every day that passes without a deal, players get more nervous. Rookies drafted in April 2025 won't know if they have jobs. Free agents can't sign contracts. Teams can't make plans. Sponsors get antsy. The longer this drags out, the more pressure builds on the union to accept something close to what's already on the table. The union's leverage is public perception. They're betting fans will side with the players over the owners. They're betting the media narrative stays focused on fair pay for women rather than on a business that can't turn a profit rejecting unreasonable demands. They're betting the WNBA can't afford the PR disaster of a canceled season, just as the league finally has mainstream momentum. But leverage only works if you're willing to use it. That's where Caitlin Clark's comments become crucial. She publicly said both sides need to compromise, and that securing a season must be the priority. That's the franchise player, the one who drove record ratings and sold out arenas, telling the union to make a deal. If more stars follow her lead, the union's position weakens. If they don't, and the season gets canceled, those stars lose the very platform that made them famous. It's a classic prisoner's dilemma. Nobody wants to be the first to break ranks. Here's what likely happens. Despite dramatic statements and strike votes, there's a predictable path forward. The union will keep applying public pressure through January. The league will leak information to friendly reporters about the reasonableness of their offers. Both sides will position themselves as the adults in the room while painting the other side as unreasonable. By late January or early February, Adam Silver steps in, but not publicly. Behind closed doors, he tells WNBA owners, here's the final number we're willing to subsidize. To the union, he says, here's the best deal you're going to get. Reject it and you're on your own. The deal will probably include significant salary increases, maybe not quite doubled, but close, full charter flights for the entire season, critical for player health and recovery improved marketing commitments with specific dollar amounts attached, some form of revenue sharing, kicking in only after the league reaches profitability. With clearly defined metrics, the union will claim victory for historic salary increases and revenue sharing language. The league will claim victory because the revenue sharing costs nothing until the WNBA actually makes money, which might never happen. Both sides will praise each other's professionalism and move on. But the fundamental tension remains: what players think they deserve versus what the business can actually support. WNBA growth over the past year is impressive, but growth doesn't equal profitability. Selling out 17,000-seat arenas matters less when the buildings cost a fortune to operate. Record TV ratings matter less when media rights deals were signed years ago at far lower values. The next media rights negotiation is where revenue sharing will truly matter. If the WNBA secures $200 million or more annually, players get a percentage of real money, not theoretical future earnings. If it's only $100 million or less, the same argument will resurface in a few years. So, the big question: do you risk everything now for a better deal, or do you take the safe money and bet on future growth? The smart play is obvious. Take the deal, play the season, let Caitlin Clark and the next wave of stars drive growth, and negotiate from strength in a few years when the numbers justify revenue sharing. But smart doesn't always win in negotiations. Pride matters. Precedent matters. Players leading this fight are not wrong to demand more, but they may be wrong about timing. Will there be a strike? Expect noise, posturing, maybe even a brief symbolic work stoppage. But when May rolls around, there will be basketball. Both sides need each other. Players need the platform, salary, and exposure. The league needs the talent, especially stars like Caitlin Clark who move the needle. What we're witnessing is high-stakes theater with real consequences if someone miscalculates. But theater nonetheless. The script is already written. We're just waiting for both sides to read their lines and take their bows. The real question isn't whether there will be a season. It's whether this negotiation damages the player-league relationship enough to affect future cooperation. WNBA growth isn't just about talent. It's about everyone rowing in the same direction, presenting a unified front to sponsors, media partners, and fans that if this negotiation ends with bitterness, it affects the marketing of stars, player-media cooperation, and whether fans see a league on the rise or one eating itself from the inside. That here's what to watch. Not just whether a deal is reached, but how it's reached, what it costs in relationships and trust, and whether both sides emerge ready to build something together, or just counting down to the next negotiation. Does the union have the leverage it thinks it does, or are they overplaying their hand? And if you're Caitlin Clark watching this unfold, how frustrated must you be to see the biggest year in WNBA history possibly followed by a canceled season? The WNBA drama is far from over, and we're just getting started.